Hi, I'm Jonathan Little. You're here at Little Labs headquarters in Hollywood, California. We're here to check out the Little Labs new product, the Pepper. We have helping us on guitar, Andrew Scott, and we're going to get into what all the Pepper does, and it does a lot. Hey, so we're here to check out all the functions of the Pepper. I'm going to go through each input and output and each button and what each function and what it does. First thing we're going to check out is the instrument jack in. You plug your instrument into here, and what's unique about it, it has a button called load, off, and on. It's not something I think you want to mess with too much, but when you have certain pickups and certain guitars are more sensitive to loads. If you have an active instrument, usually it's not as much of an issue, but with passive pickups, especially piezo pickups, you want almost no load. So with the load off, you have a 10 meg ohm input impedance. That's recommended for piezo type pickups. If you have the load on, you can adjust on the rear it anywhere from 100k ohms to 2.2 meg ohms, and you can use a small screwdriver for that. It's not something I think you want to mess with all the time, but it's something that you will mess with. Once you figure out what's right, you probably will never touch it again. Then we have what's called the pedal insert, which is right here, and it comes after a very high quality hi-fi amplifier. That the first thing the input amplifier hits. So as you're sending out low impedance to your pedal, it's a hard bypass. So you're sending, when it's out of the circuit, it is completely out of the circuit. It is when the button is pushed in, it's in, but it can be controlled from an external foot switch. And you can use any cheap 2-input TRS foot switch, like here's one below, here you go, that is made by Hosa, and it's cost about 17 bucks on Amazon. That can insert your pedal board in and out. And so when you have your pedal board inserted, it has your whole chain of pedals, but when it's out, it's completely out of the circuit. Here's the pedals in a daisy chain going to the pedal I/O on the rear. I'll show you the pedal I/O now too. That's our first set of jacks on the rear. 2 pedals and from pedals. What I typically recommend for guitar players is to have the pedals on this insert are usually the pedals maybe you won't use all the time. If you're a pedal freak, you might realize that sometimes they fail and you got a lot of connections there. You might want to keep your pedals you use all the time in the chain and put all your other pedals on that insert, and so when you don't want them or something goes wrong, they're completely out of the circuit. And those are our first jacks. 2 pedals board from pedal board. The next thing we have is the Pro insert. On the Pro insert, which is also can be controlled from the foot pedal we showed before, but you can take it out there, but when it's in the in position, it's controlled by the foot switch if you're plugged into a foot switch. If not, it's just controlled by the switch there. You have a Pro send level send and a Pro send level return. After you return from the pedal insert, you go to a special fully differential amplifier that sends Pro level plus 18 dB, which you can control, plus 18 dB max from the Pro send. You have a Pro return after the Pro return that gives you an extra 6 dB a level if you need it. As I say, it's fully balanced. What you will find here is what you will want to do is be able to match the levels. So when it's in the circuit or out of the circuit, you know that the level will be identical. What's important here to note is that's a tough thing to do, but we've made it easy for you. What we have here is what's a phase reverse on the Pro return. What this allows you to do is to match your levels precisely and accurately with your instrument level, so as that when, especially in reamping purposes, or just if you have a chain of Pro audio gear, you know when you insert that, the level is going to be correct. In reamping, when you're playing back, you want that level to be completely dead on, because it's more situations than not when people screw up with reamping, it's because their levels are off. Please take note too, this is also, since it brings your instrument level to a professional line level output, balanced line level output, it is a balanced line level active direct out too. So if you want their super clean transformerless active direct out, which Little Labs has been known for in pedals, not pedals, like on our PCP and on the original Multi-Z DI. You know that transformerless punchy DI? You have that right here if you want to use it that way. In a moment I'm going to demonstrate how you will be able to match these levels using that polarity reverse, but we'll get to that button next. Okay, we're going to show off the next button here, which is the Pro Return cut switch, which we have here, and right next to it we have the Pro Return polarity reverse here. And what's really useful about that is what I mentioned before, is with the polarity reverse is when we're setting up our levels and making sure that our Pro levels are the same as our without them, with them in the circuit and with them not in the circuit. So what I'm going to show here is how you can do that very easily. So play some tunage there, Andrew. So here we have, keep playing, and we're going to show how that I can set the levels to the Pro device and returning from the Pro device at the optimum level. Now here we have, that's a straight dry track coming from his guitar. When it's set at 3 o'clock, and that is a unity level, so what's plugged in here comes out here at the same level, basically the same as plugging directly into the amp. But when I combine that with the Pro level and flip the polarity, and this is with the Pro out, I can bring this in. You hear that little null spot? That shows that your dry guitar signal, like it would sound just like going into the amp, is the same as going through the Pro level device. So we can take that out. But now we're going to set up the return level from the Pro device, and we'll do the same thing with that. And we'll bring this slowly up. Hear that null? So now you know when you turn this down, the Pro level device, when it's in the circuit and out of the circuit, the level will be identical. Where this comes into a lot of, it's really handy, is when you're reamping stuff. Now, some digital recorders, when you flip the polarity on the return coming from them, it's not in phase with what's coming in with them because of the latency in the recorder. And it'll never be an issue on an analog machine. Some digital recorders it's an issue with, some it's not. But when you're using a rack of Pro audio gear, it just makes it so once you get used to it, you'll see how quick and easy that is to set those levels. Mind you, I've just started using this for the first time today, so I might sound a little jerky in doing it, but you'll get the hang of it, and I think you're going to find it an extremely useful way to make sure what's coming in and coming out are identical, and it's a lot easier doing it that way than it is just using your ears to hear that the level is the same. And you'll notice right after you do it, you do compare it with them in and out, you'll find, wow, that's dead on. Because quite often these mistakes are made, especially in reamping, that you get your levels off, and that's a key point in reamping stuff. Okay, the next cool little feature on it is you have your through level, and your through level is a completely dry level that completely bypasses your pedal insert and your pro insert and takes your dry guitar signal and feeds it to your output. Here's the instrument through level adjust. At 3 o'clock, it's the same as plugging it into your directly into your guitar amp. So that's what's considered unity gain, input and output. But what's cool about this is you can parallel process your signal. And I'm going to let Andrew play some stuff, and I'll show you what we're talking about here. So here's the process signal, or you can do it with a see you can hear him playing. I'm playing it through a tube screamer. It's fairly, loud and obnoxious. But what's cool, then we can blend in the dry signal. So you can have that dirt under it. There's dry signal, because we just cut the return signal. Keep playing there, Andrew. And there's some dirt. And what's also interesting, when you're combining signals, sometimes the return signal's polarity, you can flip the polarity and it'll sound more solid. So you have that kind of control over it. So basically, similar to a wet and dry type feature, I call it parallel pedal or parallel effect processing. Pretty common today with compressors and stuff in the pro world, but it gives you that kind of flexibility to do that. And especially bass players, it seems like they like using the dry signal for the attack, and then have the rest of their pedals, distortions and stuff behind it. No, you keep playing there, Andrew. Drive signal, process signal, right in parallel. Because sometimes you want to be heard, not just your pedal. Next thing, we're going to turn this around and I'm going to show you the back of the unit. Okay, finally I'm going to show you the jack inputs and outputs. This last jack is the to-your amp jack, and that is transformer isolated, which is a unique feature. It's similar to the transformer isolation we use on the PCP. We have a instrument earth lift when you're in a situation. Since we're interfacing so much stuff, it's important for us to have a transformer on that so we can ground isolate if need be, because we're interfacing with so much other stuff. There are certain places we needed to lift the ground. We also have a DI earth lift we can see here, and that when we get to the back of the unit, which I'm about to turn around right now, if we can focus in on that, there's the DI output, which is a mic level transformer DI out, which is right on the ass end of the unit. This is not the transformerless line level DI. This is a mic level transformer isolated DI. And especially for live work, we felt this was essential to include, because people seem to want a mic level DI transformer for live use. Okay, starting on this side though, we do have the pedal insert. We have the send and the return for your pedal. That output here can either be at 0 dB or plus 6 dB. It's shipped with plus 6 dB level. I don't know if that means anything to a lot of you, but we felt like all the pedals seemed a little happier with that. And then we have your Pro insert, which is a completely balanced level that has up to 24 dB of gain on it, and line level. And you bring that out to your Pro gear, then back from your Pro gear to this other TRS jack, which is a line level balanced input, and you have an extra 6 dB of gain on the other side of the unit for if you need to get a little bit of boost out of that. Then on the next jack we have the pedal insert, and you use any TRS cheapo pedal things. I say Hosa makes one for 16 bucks. We don't include that with the box because not everyone, especially recording people, want it, but it's a good thing to have, and at that price it's very cheap. We don't make one because they're just so much cheap out there to buy, and they're fine. The only thing they're doing is taking ground, attaching that to the tip or to the sleeve to select whether you have your Pro insert in or your pedal insert in. Finally, we have an expansion out, which is a full level output, which is on the very ass end of the device, like the DI. And this is for sending out to use with the PCP, another one of our boxes, or the Red Eye 3D. So if you want to run a really long, I mean, you could literally run a 5-mile run to the PCP or to the Red Eye, and it's fully balanced. It comes out very hot. And that is our final jack on the unit. Of course, then we do have the power input, which is a bipolar 16-volt input. We don't use, this isn't a 9-volt device. The high-end quality that we'd use in here would not work on a 9-volt device. This is a high-end. The amplifiers used in this thing could be used in a super audiophile preamp. In fact, the differential amps are the only place I've really seen them used before was on the input of high-end A to D converters. So this box is basically a really hi-fi piece of kit that's designed to interface the pro world and the guitar world and back again. Thank you for joining us, for checking out our new product, the Little Labs Pepper. We're going to be demonstrating it at NAMM. We're going to be demonstrating it at Music Messe in Frankfurt. And I'd love to see you there. You can also check out our website, www.littlelabs.com. I'm Jonathan Little. Thank you for watching.